Commsverse2025. Welcome to Commsverse TV, and we're here with Jabra in the house. Everybody go, yeah!
Yay!
There we go. How you doing, Lee?
I'm living the dream as always, Steve. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. It's a bank holiday Monday here. We're working on our day off, you know that?
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for your dedication.
I get that. I do get that.
What else would we do on a bank day off?
That's true, actually. I play with technology ready for Commsverse, which we'll cover a little bit later on. So, how many times is this? I think you were on the very first one as well with Michael and myself.
I think I probably was. Yes, we've been doing this for far too many years now, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's because we all like getting to Commsverse and Mercedes World.
The event it's still one of the best events that you ever go to, both in the UK and in Europe. It's so well attended, so well organised. It's really good.
That's why you do it, just to be with the cars.
I'm not really bothered about the cars. It's the people.
Yeah, said like a true marketing person. Yeah, love that. We go for the cars.
You go for the cars.
Okay.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, there is a downside this year in that because Commsverse is bigger and taking up more space for exhibitors and some, I think actually you guys are doing one of the rooms as well, aren't you, Lee?
Yes, we took the opportunity when Mark came to us and said that there's the meeting room experience center. We took the opportunity to snap one of those up. So yes, we have a larger stand, a larger footprint with more opportunity to show all the wonderful Jabra stuff.
So it's your fault that the cars have disappeared because we've actually moved into that space where all the great cars were. So
if I need to take the blame, Steve, I'll take the blame. I personally blame Mark Vale for asking for that additional space and then offering it to vendors and the vendors taking it. So it started with Mark.
I think so. I think it's really Mark for being so successful this event. That's considering that very first event when the strikers were blocking the M25 and half the people couldn't turn up for the day. That was cool. And then Moraine's favourite part of Commsverse is...
Can I guess the fire alarm?
Yes!
Oh,
he likes
fire
alarms.
Let's see if we have that this year, yes or no.
I think we'll have to have one. We'll have to, if nobody does one on the first day, we'll have to make sure that we arrange one for the second. But yeah, it's all part.
Yeah, we definitely need a fire alarm. It all gives us a quick breather and a bit of fresh air for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and yeah, it's interesting. We could all just walk out. We could all wander around in the fresh air at any time we want to, but we don't.
It depends on our schedule if we can do that, yes or no.
Mm.
If they book it completely full, then we don't have much time to do it. But yes.
Yeah, we got 8 sessions live during Commsverse this year, so we will be recording live, speakers and sponsors. So yes, we're actually in that new space. So I guess we're somewhere close to your team rooms experience. Actually, I haven't seen.
I think you are. I think just around the corner. We're going to be neighbours.
Oh, excellent! That means you'll be dropping in all the time with some of that free giveaway chocolate that you've got.
Quite possibly, depending on how well you treat me. But yes, I'll be popping around with some chocolate for you guys to keep you motivated.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the great Lee Davies from Jabra. Is that worth one piece?
Stunned silence. Yes, it's more than worth one piece, definitely, Steve.
So, speaking about conference and Jabra, what can people expect in the meeting room you guys are going to build there?
So we've got 2 meeting room spaces. So both of them are based on the Microsoft ecosystem. So the first one is a signature room. So we're going to have 2 large screen displays and a curved table along with our Panicast 50 video bar system. So you can see that signature room that they've installed into their Microsoft offices. So you can come and experience that for yourselves, because video is great to talk about, but until you can actually see it in the flesh, it's really difficult to explain to customers what that experience looks and feels like. So we have a signature room on one side, and on the other side we have the sort of new Microsoft Express room install. So these are the ones that are designed for smaller huddle spaces. Allegedly these can be set up within minutes That's not me personally, but I'm sure that some technical people out there can install these within minutes.
Yeah.
And we've got our Panicast40 VBS in there, which is designed for those smaller huddle spaces where you have 4 or 5 people around a smaller conferencing desk. So you've got that, and then you've got our headsets as well as usual. So our headset range for those people who are using it for audio.
Nice. Maureen, we went to the Microsoft Test Center in March as well, didn't we? Where they do the commissioning for all this stuff, and they had a special shaped table that was the perfect shaped table for a meeting.
Yeah.
Guitar pick shaped. Did they call it guitar pick table?
I think so. Yeah, it was also curved, but then indeed,
It's kind of a rounded triangle. Is that what you guys are aiming for?
Not quite that one. It's the original one that they came out with several years ago, which is a signature room. So it's just basically a part of a semicircle. So everyone can be seen with the Panicast50 VBS in front of you, and it makes sure that everyone can be seen and heard, and be an active participant in that conference.
Yeah, it's a wicked device that when you guys introduced it. I think you launched it a couple of Commsverses ago.
We did. The first product, the Panicast50, the bring your own device solution came out first, and we launched that at Commsverse. I think it was originally launched at ISE, but hot on the heels of ISE, we have Commsverse. So that's where customers can actually see the product, and then we expanded the range to incorporate the Panicast50 room system with a Lenovo compute unit, and now we have the VBS, the video bar system, which has the Android compute unit built into it. And is designed to work on the Microsoft device ecosystem platform, or MDEP for short.
And what is that actually, the MDEP?
So I'm not technical, as you can probably guess, but from the top line details, essentially, it's an Android operating system that Microsoft have taken and then customized and personalized it within the Microsoft ecosystem. But it provides enhanced security, it provides streamlined updates via their various solutions, and improved manageability as well. So essentially, it's not like the Android you'd get on your Android phone, on your Android tablet. It's a Microsoft version of Android that talks to the rest of the Microsoft ecosystem. So it means that we can actually have the compute unit built into the video bar, so you don't have to have a separate compute unit in the room somewhere. So it's a lot easier regarding the provisioning. It's a lot easier regarding the maintenance, because there's less networking, there's less cables, there's less points of failure. All of those wonderful things that customers really want when they're trying to deploy meeting rooms to keep the costs down and the complexity as low as possible. That's why we now have these devices with Android built in, which is based on the Microsoft Android version.
Yeah, and far lesser cables to hide somewhere and all that. So it's a massive. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, and the feedback we're getting from Microsoft is that then, again, we can talk to Microsoft when we're there and the other MVPs, but we're hearing that the Android side is now outselling the Windows side, and they're seeing a greater growth on the Android-based operating system rather than the Windows-based operating system. So we really want to play into that market and support those customers in their journey.
And how big can this?
I've always found it very weird that there were 2 operating systems, but there were good reasons to have that. But yeah, still weird.
And I lost track. So is the Android was always a preferred one for certain things, like the number of channels it can support and the number of cameras it can support and stuff. So I guess that is one of the big improvements with this kind of system, is sort of better access to connected equipment and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's to make sure it's as simple as possible to deploy, install, and as Marion said, it's about that, less cables, less networking, less points of failure. Let's make sure we can really install this as quickly and as painlessly as possible.
So have you upgraded your systems to accommodate that, or how's that doing? Is it a progress, or are you just reissuing new versions of them?
So with the Panicast50, we brought out a new version of the Panicast50, because the first one was an audio and video bar without any compute unit built into it. So the video bar system version of that was built on the same camera technology and the same format as in a cylinder with your audio and video speakers in there. But we had to build the compute unit into it, which made it a bit bigger. So essentially, it's the Panicast50 on steroids, because it's a bit bigger, because you need to get the Android compute unit built into it. But the newly launched Panicast 40 VBS, the baby brother to that one, has been built from the ground up with the Android compute unit built into it as standard. So it's more of an evolution rather than a revolution, as they say.
And does it have AI built into it as well?
I think anything nowadays that doesn't have AI built into it, I think you're missing a trick, Steve.
Okay, does it just have it printed on the outside then?
No comment. No, it does have a
no comment.
Yeah, it does have AI built into it. So it has lots of AI built into it, mainly around clearly the audio technology to make sure that you are heard clearly and you can hear people clearly via the speakers and the microphones, but also built into the camera as well. So again, the unique thing from Jabra is the 180-degree field of view. So you can put these cameras flush against the wall, and you can include everybody in that meeting space, and they can be seen and they can be an active participant. Because one of two things normally happens: you either sit next to the LCD screen and you can't be seen at the remote end, in which case you're not an active participant. So why are you there? Or you end up losing 2, 3, 4 feet from the front of the meeting room, which is essentially wasted real estate, which costs you money. So for all those reasons, it means you can get more people into those spaces and make those spaces more productive, which is what we're trying to do. But the AI is in there, so you can have different types of views. So from a top line, you can have just the 180-degree field of view and a panoramic view, but you can also turn on intelligent in virtual director, which will use both the beamforming microphones and the technology on the cameras to pinpoint the active speaker and just focus in on that one person.
Oh, cool. Follow audio.
So that's done via audio and the video. So that's done by the algorithms built into it. But there are also other views you can get as well. So you can get things like dynamic composition. So that will show the last 4 active speakers. So you can see the last 4 people to speak, which is amazing. So you're tracking 4 people at the same time. But you also have multi-stream dynamic composition. Don't blame me, that was from our marketing department. But that essentially means you can see the last speakers, but it also maintains that 180-degree field of view of the room. So as well as seeing the last 4 active speakers, you still see the room as well. So if there is somebody up speaking and they're talking, you'll see them in their own frame. And again, with Microsoft technology, if your voice and your face is registered on the Teams platform, it will have a little name underneath saying, this is Steve, this is Anouk, this is Marin, this is Lee. So you know who that person is. Because if you're dialing in from the remote end, you don't necessarily know who these people are, but they have their own little frame with their own name underneath it. And that means that you can see the last few active speakers and you still see the room itself. So if other people in the room aren't agreeing with what the speaker's saying, you can tell that at the remote end because you can see their facial expressions.
Of course, that's a big part of the conversation as well. Marin, I did send the questions over to you, just whether you saw them come through on your phone. So they're on your phone if you wanted to catch up with them. I know you're improvising today, and that's all good. But just also so you've got them there. One of the things that struck me was those last 4 people that have spoken, I think is really cool, because you tend to get, especially in a group of 10 people, you know, the 3 or 4 experts on a particular subject that have a conversation, draw it to a conclusion, and if people can then see the people that were involved in that conversation, there's added value in that, you know, quite natural added value too.
Yes, yeah, and again, we've worked very closely with Microsoft to ensure that the experience from the remote end is as inclusive as possible, so that you feel you're an active participant and included in that particular meeting. And then, as I say, once you register your voice and your face as well, you have the wonderful co-pilot and the transcription that will transcript the audio, allocate all the actions out afterwards, etc., etc. But even more than that, with our hardware, you have things like whiteboard or content camera. So if you have an analog whiteboard, good old-fashioned whiteboard with whiteboard markers, you can stream that in a separate content camera. So there's, again, back to Marin's point, there's no need for additional technology. There's no need for a separate content camera. That's built in to our Panicast 50. And again, a challenge we've seen in the market, and maybe you guys have seen this, is people having glass walls as barriers. So you go into meeting rooms, you have glass walls behind you, you're having a meeting, somebody walks past the meeting room, the glass barrier, and they're eating a ham sandwich, and all of a sudden the camera focuses on the ham sandwich, not the people in the room. So
That's because
again,
the
we
customer's
haven't.
hungry.
That could well be the case. It needs some more fuel, but
It's the AI.
with our intelligent
Hey,
meat,
food. Yes.
it's like cloudy with meatballs. But yeah,
Yes.
you can. With our intelligent meeting space, you can pinpoint the corners of the room, and then anybody outside of that room, it won't actually focus on that individual. So again, you're making sure you are relevant to the particular conversation you're having.
So
And that
earlier
is
you
all AI
mentioned.
driven.
That's all built into the camera. The features and benefits that come with it, that's all AI driven within the camera itself. So after the initial setup, it will remember those settings. And if you have 10 rooms the same size, you can provision them all centrally from our management software.
Very cool.
So earlier you mentioned transcription. Is it
Yes.
improving the Copilot transcription then?
Yeah, I think it is. So I think we use it very heavily within Jabra, being a Microsoft house, and we're seeing some great returns on the Panicast products for actually transcribing it. But also what we need to consider is that people at the remote end may be dialing in, and they may or may not be using a headset. They may or may not be in a quiet environment. They may be in a cafe or something. So again, we're still out there preaching to the world about non-users or wrong users. We call them new woos for those who want to have a nice little acronym. So non-user, wrong user. That's not to say that as a user you are wrong, but you are either a non-user of a headset or you're using the wrong type of headset, i.e. maybe some consumer products that are not designed or certified for use within the Teams ecosystem.
Yeah.
And we've done some testing along with one of our partners, and against other headsets, whilst in a quiet environment, the transcription accuracy starts off fairly similar. We're all fairly good in the 90% marks. Once you start going from a quiet environment to a medium noise to a high noise environment, that transcription accuracy really does suffer. And whilst some of the consumer products that we were tested against went from 90% to less than 6% accuracy, so that's less than 1 in 10 words.
Wow.
Yep, 6. They dropped that far when you go from a quiet to a noisy environment. With our professional products, it maintained 99% accuracy across quiet, noisy, and very noisy environments. So again, what we're trying to explain to customers is if you are investing in Copilot and other AI that needs good quality audio going in, you need to have a professional headset or a professional video bar solution, because if you don't, there's the old analogy of garbage in, garbage out. It won't recognize what's being said. It won't attribute the right actions to the right people. And you're going to start getting things that are transcribed inaccurately, which means you don't get the return on the investment of your Copilot license.
Yeah, very true. People will start making the wrong calls because the wrong information comes out. No, that's very true.
Yeah, because if it picks up a word like 14 and it picks up as 40, so you ask, when's my delivery coming? Oh, 14 days, and they hear 40. There's a big difference. That really impacts the deployment of a project.
No, I like it better though when we're talking about my pay rise and they say 14, but the contract is transcribed with 40. That works.
And similarly, Steve, when I lose some weight, I much prefer to lose 40 pounds rather than 14 pounds.
And you feel better for it.
Exactly, yes. Whether it's true or not is another matter.
One of the questions that I do have around this whole transcription stuff is it one of the things that it's nice to have, or are lots of people actually actively using it? So it's kind of there, and it's a little bit like video recording. You record a meeting, which lasts 30 days and then disappears, and nobody ever looks at it. But I just wondered about transcripts. Are a lot of your customers using them actively as part of their processes, or just a few of them really that want to do it really well? That sort of see real benefits. What's the split?
So I think it's a split. I think there's definitely a bit more of a journey going on at the moment with people trying to understand what can Copilot deliver for me and for my organization. From a personal perspective, I know that I can't join every single meeting that I would like to join or that people invite me to, because your diary only has X number of hours in the day. So when you do record those calls and those meetings, and you have Copilot and the transcription turned on, it's really good to go back and just go and get you a quick summary of what happened during that 30-minute, 1-hour conversation, whatever time scale it is. You can look at the top line data about what are the interesting topics and what are the summaries, rather than actually having to spend the hour listening back to that call again. So it's really good from that perspective. And I think also from the outcomes perspective, when you are allocating resources, allocating actions, and asking people to pick up on things they need to do, that saves a huge amount of time for me personally as well, that after a call, I can copy and paste the actions into an email and send that out to everyone who was there, or they can see it if they were an active participant in the call. So it's just taking away some of that repetitive, labor-intensive, mundane admin tasks, but it also gives you the flexibility to be doing other things, but then come back to that call at a later date, as long as it hasn't dropped off within the 30 days, and get a top line recap about the main points.
I get that that's what it delivers. My question was whether actually you find a lot of people are using it, or whether it's just a split. I mean, is it specifics or is it general?
I think it's general. I think some customers are using it more and more, but again, it's about, do they have confidence in the technology?
Yeah.
Do they have confidence in the hardware? And are they being, I don't like to use the word onboarded, but are they being trained in what the benefits are? Because there's a lot of noise in the press about AI is going to take everyone's jobs. I don't think it would necessarily take away jobs. I think it would be more the fact of, it will make your job more interesting because some of the admin stuff will be taken away. And those people that embraced it are starting to see that their job becomes more interesting because they can do more interesting things. And I think that's what we need to try and get through to the clients and the end customers. But you need to bring your staff on that journey with you, and you need to make sure that it's deployed in a sensitive way, and it's deployed with the right training and investment.
Yeah. Miranda, are you finding a lot of your customers are very heavy on the old transcription stuff and things, or is it a 50-50 split?
Well, I mainly see that most people who are paying for a Copilot license are mainly using it just for that transcription functionality. So there's always that discussion, like, should you get a Copilot or just use Teams Premium, which also has that functionality. So yeah, I'm definitely seeing a lot of that. Mm-hmm.
For one of my customers, they have Copilot license, they use the transcription continuously because they have the rule for every meeting from 30 minutes, we need to have meeting notes of every single meeting. So with that transcription and the rest of Copilot, they have quite easy their meeting notes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I think a lot of it is rightly. I think it's about making people realize that it's now part of your everyday process, and it's part of sort of what you need to do. And then to either trust it or work with it. I know that people that I use it for only use it so that they can take the translation of that transcript, and then they can recap it in a language that they're comfortable with. So I think there are a number of different uses that people do. Maybe that's one of the things we should talk about, guys. We should do a session on the use of transcripts and the use of some of this functionality and features. And I think that that's a part of that adoption process. So that's pretty cool.
It is.
Pretty cool. All right. Good. So just to be clear, do people need to book a session for your team room experience at Commsverse, or is it a walk-in and a rolling show, or how are you guys planning it?
So they can do either or. So we'd like to be flexible. So via the Commsverse app and via the website, you can pre-book a specific time to have a demonstration if you wish. But we'll be talking to customers throughout the day, and you know how busy it gets. If people want to come and talk to us on the stand, they can just rock up, and as long as there's not a pre-booked one already in place, then we're more than happy to go through our products and our solutions. We can show them the video solutions that we have, show them the audio solutions, and also show them the new Engage AI 2.0 for call center operatives. So that's also there as a demonstration suite as well.
Okay, give us a 2-minute rundown.
2-minute rundown. So Engage AI is a tone analysis piece of software. So it picks up on the tone of the conversation from both the, let's say, a customer contact center agent and the customer. So it picks up on whether the tone of the conversation is positive, negative, or neutral. So it's a real-time solution for the agent so that they can monitor how their tone sounds throughout the day. So if they're sounding a bit deflated, it's like Big Brother next to you saying, come on, Lee, you're sounding a bit depressed, cheer yourself up, sound a bit more positive, because customers generally remember how you sound rather and how you felt during that interaction, not specifically the words, but how did that person make me feel. But this software, as well as doing the tone and the sentiment analysis, also gives you AI call summaries, auto call reason detection, so it detects the reason for the call. All of that data can then be pumped into the CRM system so that every single call, they know exactly why that person called. Was it resolved? Was it a positive call? Was it an angry call? What was it? But we can also then start to track in on those particular individual calls about what was good, what was bad, how do we replicate good calls, how do we mitigate bad calls, and how do we train our agents to be the best they can be.
You just took the question away I was about to ask. So yes, it sounds like a great training tool as well.
We think it is, and also it takes out the guesswork of quality assurance, because quality assurance in the past, if you imagine you have a call center with 1,000 calls coming in a day, how do you pick which one you listen to? It's literally the old-fashioned needle in a haystack. Now with our software, you can say, well, that one was a good one, let's listen to that and find out why it was good. This was a bad one, let's find out why it was bad. Let's replicate the good, mitigate the bad, and let's make everyone better as doing their job and supporting our customers.
That's cool. Does it actually transition from
that was one of those one more thing moments.
It's always one more thing. It's just like Columbo.
Yeah.
You're a 70s TV guy, aren't you? Look at that. Columbo was there, and you referenced earlier something. I'm thinking those guys won't even know what he's talking about. I was thinking,
Yeah, I know. I'm showing my age now, Steve.
Yeah, you and me both, mate. You and me both.
Why are you looking at me now?
I wasn't. I was just seeing whether I was going to get slapped or laughed at, I suppose. Are you the baby of the team? Yes, you are. Yeah, you're the baby. Slap. I go.
Yes.
I go. It's fine. Well, you started this conversation, not me. So I was also wondering whether it can monitor the changing tone of a call. So the kind of person that say it started off with an angry customer and it finished off with a customer that was content and happy. So that then they can, the operator can go for their bonus and say, I succeeded.
It does indeed. So as standard, is a small widget that sits in the bottom corner of your screen, because clearly, the screen estate is sometimes a little bit cluttered when it comes to a contact center agent. But if you want to, you can open it up full screen and it shows you a timeline, and there's little lozenges that change every 20 or 30 seconds, and it will change the color depending on whether it's green for positive, gray for neutral, yellow for negative, or red for angry. And it will change in real time. That's recorded, so in real time you can see it, but you can also see it retrospectively once the call has ended as well. So in real time you can change your tone depending on the tone of the client, but also after the call's finished, you can then see where did it change, where was that inflection point that changed from a negative call to a positive call. What did the agent say, and how did they say it to change that customer from an angry customer to a neutral to hopefully a positive.
Very, very cool. I know that Marine's got a delay, so I'll keep giving him just a minute or a few seconds just to make sure he's got to the end of the sentence in case he wants to add in on it. But he's obviously just a chilled out guy today, which is all fun.
No. I kind of needed to shut up about this one. I was gonna make some very wrong jokes about this, but yeah, let's not do that. Yeah.
Oh, does that mean we're going to get a polite Marine for the next week and a half?
I'll try.
I'll try.
We'll see. We'll see.
I was also just thinking, Rain, what it would be like if we had this software running on one of our podcasts, and what that would look like. Whether we're going green, whether we'd have more green, more orange, or more red.
Yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Well, all part of the fun. All right, Lee. Well, thank you very much for the time. It's been a great call as always, and looking forward to bumping into you. I guess a week tomorrow. And,
yes.
And at Commsverse. So there you go. Do you know what stand number you're on or anything at this point?
I think we're on ME2, so the meeting experience number 2. So there's only 3 of them there. you'll see us because we're going to have a huge 9-foot podium in the middle with Jabra plastered all over it. So you'll probably see that from the other side because we're over by the fast tracks area, as you say, because they've moved some of the vehicles out of that area. So you and I will be over on that sort of area. So you'll see us from quite a distance. And clearly I'm not a small bloke and I'm not a quiet bloke. So you'll probably see and hear me as well.
Yeah, we'll be knocking. If you're next door to us, we'll be saying, "Shh, we're trying to record." Shh.
And the answer will be no. I'm going to carry on making as much noise as possible.
Me from Jabra on the stand next door to be quiet? Did I say Jabra? I wasn't sure. All right, my friend. Thank you very, very much indeed. And so, everybody, this is our last pre-recorded call for Commsverse2025 TV. The next time you hear from us, it will be live. That will be fun. Exciting times.
It's going to be fun.
Yes.
It is going to be fun. It'll be fun. All right, Lee, thank you very much. I'll let you say goodbye to everybody.
Thanks a lot. Look forward to seeing you at Commsverse, and make sure you come to the Jabra stand for your opportunity to win a Panicast 50 and to get some free chocolates.
Look at that. Even had the last word in there. That's great. Moraine?
He had me at chocolates.
And I'll let you finish us off.
Me? Are you sure of that?
No, that's true. You're the baby of the group. Guys, we'll see you in Commsverse in about 10 days' time. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.